Welcome back to an all-new episode of the PowerToku show. This is episode 14. I'm Josh Reed, also known as Jmann on the site, and I am joined by my partner in crime,
Luis, otherwise known as SentaiSeiya. So this is finally happening, huh?
Yeah, after like 3 months, it's like 2.5, but still, it's been a long time.
Last time we recorded was after the finale for Gaim, so I think it's been about 3 months because we've had about 10 episodes of Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, two and a half months, somewhere in there.
I think the last time it was beginning of October, so
yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah. All right. So how you been? What you been up to?
I have been working quite a bit. I got a job, and then I got promoted, and then I got promoted again, and
Damn.
so then my workload increased a whole lot. So I haven't had a whole lot of time to do stuff like this, which is sad. But
Congrats though. I mean, that's good for you.
Oh yeah, thanks. It means
Yeah.
I can spend more money on toys, but
Hence the impulse buy of the Just Beyond just a few minutes ago.
Well, I don't really consider that an impulse buy because I was already planning on buying the Figuarts Just Beyond whenever it came out, but saw that it was up for pre-order, so like 5 minutes ago, I went and grabbed that on Anime Export.
Cool. Yeah. All right. So that's cool. I mean, I've been busy too, so that's hence why we haven't really had a show.
Mm-hmm.
Busy all the way around. But one of these days we'll get back to our regular schedule, I hope.
Hopefully.
Nice.
Until then, we're just going to do this every few months, and then I'm going to show off new toys.
So, do you want to talk about news? Or do you want to show off some more toys?
Let's just jump right into it.
All right.
Okay, guys, so the first couple of news items are kind of the same thing, but we've got Real Action Hero DX Kamen Rider Black. This is basically their renewal Kamen Rider Black version. They were like, you know what? Everybody else is making renewal Kamen Rider Black figures. Let's do this one. So I believe they increased like the jointage and the details and stuff like that. I can't remember, but I don't believe the original Real Action Hero had all of the sinewy details in the joints and stuff like that in the undersuit. But overall, this looks just like the suit that was used on screen in the show.
Yeah. The thing about some of these, though, it looks like the material they use really restricts the movement of the toy. Did I just freeze? All right, take it back from the that earlier point. So one of the things about these suits, though, is they look nice, but from what I've seen, they're really restrictive on some of the joints. Makes for some of the posing to look really awkward. If you want to take it up real quick, you can see that Kamen Rider kick. That looks a little weird.
Mm-hmm. Of course,
almost looks like he broke. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, of course, his rider kick looks weird in the show anyway.
Yeah, it kind of looks like he broke his ankle though, the way they posed him.
Yeah. The ankle seems to be a bit too high.
Yeah. So looks good. I've heard nothing but horror stories though about Real Action Heroes, so I'm staying away.
Yeah, I still have not jumped the gun on any of these 1/12 scale or 1/6 scale figures.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yeah. I'm pretty sure you have plenty 1/12 scale figures.
Yeah, yeah. I've got plenty of 1/12 scale figures. Don't look behind me or anything.
Yeah.
But
all right, so this leads us to the next piece of news. Real Action Hero DX Kamen Rider Joker version 2.0. So is there a reason why they call one 1.5 and the other one 2.0?
I guess this one they did a bit more on. I think that one they just sort of updated a couple of things, and I think this one they're using an entire new body and suit is what it looks like.
Gotcha.
But
looks really good.
Yeah, like these promo shots always make these figures look really good, but apparently people are like, oh look, the arm is missing whenever they opened up the package and stuff like that. So I don't know.
I know Ben. I was going to say Ben from CDX. He's bought a couple Real Action Heroes, and I've talked to him about it. And he likes them. I don't think he's had any issues with them. But for the most part, I've just heard bad stories about these things.
And they're just so expensive. They are Hot Toys price, around $250-ish. That's US dollars. Of course, with the yen being as terrible as it is right now, you could probably get one of these for like $7.
Plus shipping, though.
Yeah. I think they're both about 230,000 yen, so that'd be around $200 a piece.
I know Kamen Rider Black was a web exclusive. Is this one also?
Yes. Medicom's premium shop, so.
Okay. Got to jump on those, middleman sites to get one of these. So, looks good for the Kamen Rider double fans out there. Man, I just wish Hot Toys would do these. I would pick it up if it was Hot Toys.
I mean, Hot Toys, if you buy a Hot Toys figure, you're guaranteed to get every bit of bang for your buck. And, with RAH being a little shaky, it really makes you not want to spend $200. But I really love all of the Tokusatsu characters that they do. It's like the only way to get Toku characters like that.
Yeah, Medicom pretty much owns the rights to all the stuff in the 1/6 scale for the Toku. Man, be nice if they just let Hot Toys do a couple.
I know, just a couple. Just, Ichigo and Nigo, and then Ichigo and Nigo from Kamen Rider the First. Yeah. And, you know what?
And then all the Heisei riders.
And then all the Heisei riders. And then, all of the Showa riders. And then they can start with the secondary riders. So only a few,
Yeah.
Anyway, so I guess we're done talking about these.
Yep. Yeah, Real Action Heroes.
I guess we're done
let's talk. Go ahead. I was going to say we can jump over to S.H.Figuarts news.
Yeah.
Kamen Rider Blade, broken head version, I should say. Looks like everything else is pretty much the same from the original.
Except for his colors. His colors are a bit darker.
So he's been through battle.
Oh, yeah. I'm not... you've seen Blade, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
We couldn't do Journey Through the Decade without me having seen all the shows.
Yeah, I know. I was just making sure. But... this and, like, Garen with a busted head, it would be really cool. I would like to have them, just, like, fighting each other like that, or at least just lying on the beach, just sort of passed out. That would, I don't know why I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
But, I don't want to give too many spoilers for people who haven't seen Blade yet, but, this is cool.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing some of the Rangers also with the broken face plates.
Yeah.
Because there's been a couple Rangers that have done that.
I
think Go Busters did it. Time Force did it, if I'm not mistaken.
Time
Ranger
did do it.
Yeah. Who else did it?
I believe they did it once in Power Rangers Lost Galaxy.
Okay.
They may have done it then.
But that'd be pretty cool. I mean, and it's not too expensive once you've already made the figure once. Just to do another head sculpt and do a slightly different shade of paint. Yeah. So it looks good. I'm pretty sure D-Kun's gonna get this.
Yeah, he is all in on the Blade S.H.Figuarts. He has gotten every single one they've released so far. Pretty sure he's gonna end up getting all the bikes and everything too. So,
it's gonna make for a pretty sweet setup.
Yep, and if he doesn't pick this one up, I'm gonna slap him. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if they do this in like a Garen flavor. If he doesn't pick up the Garen, because Garen is one of his all-time favorite Kamen Riders, I'm gonna slap him twice if he doesn't.
Yeah, you're gonna unfriend him, not even talk to him anymore.
I don't love you anymore. You're no longer my best friend.
Yeah, just kidding. All right, so that's it for this. Really, pretty much just the same figure with a different, head and some slightly different paint applications. And let's jump over to stuff from next year, or more stuff from next year, because it's all from next year. It's stuff that's not coming this year, obviously. You know what I mean. Leave me alone.
Just be quiet.
Okay. Shuriken Sentai Ninninger. Suit designs. So what do you think? What are your thoughts?
I like it.
Me too.
That's pretty much it.
Had you seen that the prototype shot that was like floating around the internet?
The sketches?
There was like a sketch of Red or something, like supposedly like a leaked prototype shot that looks nothing like this.
I don't remember seeing that.
No,
I generally don't look at the rumor stuff.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it if it's like that, but this is completely different. I mean, I'm on board. I love the helmets, the suits, everything just looks great.
I like the thigh-high socks on the ladies. That's cool.
Yeah, sexy. So you also get a little glimpse of what the mecha looks like in this picture, but let's click on the other link and see what it actually looks like a little bit better.
Here we go.
At least in toy form.
Shuriken.
Yeah. So this brings back some of the toy designers from Go Busters, from what I've heard. They're working
some good toys.
Yeah. Honestly, people hated the Go Busters toys, but after the past couple of years, I have to give them props for being a little bit imaginative and trying to do more than just being a simple, Super Sentai toy, as the Tokkyuger stuff has been in the, and also the, I almost said Jew Ranger, the Kyoryuja stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, like even the first transformation looked pretty bad, but at least they tried. I'll give them points for that. And this kind of reminds me a little bit of that, trying to do more with just even the first 5 mechas. You have the what? I almost cut you off. You have the little guy that sits in the chest.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is like this reminds me a whole lot like the way Kyoryuger, basically Gabutira was like the main thing, and then the other mecha just sort of popped into it as they needed. Yeah. And like that's generally what this looks like. The main thing is like the red mecha, but then you've got like the pink train, and then the white wolf, and then the blue whatever, and then the yellow thing.
Somebody did their homework. The blue one's the dragon, and I think the yellow one's a bulldozer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because that makes sense.
Yeah.
I also really love how none of these mechas like make any sense why they should be together. Like there's a wolf, there's a train, there's a bulldozer, there's a dragon, and then there's a dude.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. I don't know why. I just love that.
It's also pretty cool that they're going to be the Rangers piloting the guy. Yeah. So that's pretty neat. We have, some role-play toys and stuff. I'm never really big into those, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're really not the biggest target audience for the role-play toys, so I mean, it makes sense. The last time I played with a DX Sentai role-play toy was the Gokai Spear.
Yeah.
And I was just like, woo, it's tiny. So,
and I'm done.
Yeah, I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to put this on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, I feel you. And then we also have UFO Maro and I don't remember the name of the elephant.
Green elephant.
Green elephant thing. Give me a second. Danpumaru.
Danpumaru.
Yeah. So, pretty cool. I mean, it's basically just removing that little chest piece from the mecha, throwing another chest piece on there, and some weapons, but it's neat. You also have like the swappable helmet thing going, so that's pretty cool. I don't know. Even if it doesn't look the greatest, I'll give them points for trying a little bit more than the past couple years.
Yeah.
I mean, because ToQger really didn't try too hard.
Nope, they're like, okay, so let's take a thing and put it on the side of the other thing. Perfect.
Yep. And give it a penis.
Of course. And then once they got their ultimate thing, they were just like, let's make it to where you can hide everything inside this brick and you can't tell that you have all of the other mechas inside of it.
Yeah. Perfect. We'll talk about that a little bit later, though, in the review section. Also, interestingly enough, the action figures.
I have so many things to say because I'm apparently the only one who is freaking out that they are using the Bandai of America bodies.
No, I've seen other people complain or, show really strong emotions about these.
I don't know if I'm complaining. I'm confused. Like, they've always had, like, well, not always, but the last couple of years, even the Sentai toys have been kind of like the little DX action figures and everything. Yeah. But if they're going with the Bandai of America, like, versions, there's almost no reason for Americans to buy these figures until they become Power Rangers.
I think a lot of it just comes down to cutting cost when you think about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So many times, a lot, like, especially recently with the last ToQger figures, they have been on, like, super sale like ever since they released because it doesn't look like anyone was buying the actual like action figures. So I mean, I'm not sure if they've released prices for the actual action figures, but I would assume they were probably 700 to 900 yen as opposed to the 2,500 yen of the previous year's action figures.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's gonna be a big difference.
Yeah, and then once the show comes out in the U.S., there might not even be a need to make new toys. You just, pump some more out using the same molds.
Exactly. I mean, I think they might start, combining the toy lines to where they don't have to spend the time or resources developing two separate versions.
Yeah, and it makes sense. I mean, you have some people from Bandai Japan working in Bandai America. They've been working there for a couple of years. There's obviously there's obviously some cross-pollination of ideas and, best practices and all that stuff. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, even this year when they've already released the Dino Charge Megazord, and that
it's
doesn't
right up there.
Yeah, and I say that doesn't look very different from the DX version of the Super Sentai. I mean, obviously it doesn't have the electronics and all that stuff, but for the most part, it seems like they're pretty similar.
And for half the price.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're going to see that review in a little while. I'm not going to commit to a time frame, but there is a review in progress for the Dino Charge Megazord.
Yeah. Expect it before the show's over. All right. So, yeah, a good assortment of toys. I'm going to keep my eyes open for the pre-orders on these. Expect the reviews coming from one of us. At least for the DX mechas. Yeah. Somebody on CDX is going to cover it.
I may or may not have already put dibs on Shuriken.
Yeah.
Whoa. You'll have to... I don't know. I lost everything. I don't care anymore.
I'll say we can Great Seiya Man it.
Yeah, we totally can.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it for the toys so far. Nothing else has been revealed. As far as I remember. And I think that's it for news.
Yeah. I guess we can move on to the second part of Toy Talk.
Yeah, reviews. All right. I'm going to let you take this one. Because at first I was like, Kamen Rider Shin? No, that's not it.
I'm like, no. All right. No, this is not Shin. This is almost like the anti-Shin. As if there was... I guess, a reason for an anti-Shin to exist. This character is one of the villains from Shin Kamen Rider. We've already talked about it, so hopefully you have seen Shin Kamen Rider. But basically in the movie there is another cyborg just like Shin who is running around killing people. And part of the mystery is Shin thinks that it's him because he doesn't have any memories of himself, going crazy as Shin. And everyone thinks it's him because they've seen him transform into what looks like this thing. But turns out to be another guy who is just a cyborg like him, and then they fight and he dies and all that weird stuff. But this is that villain character, and since they didn't just want to release another version of Shin... they decided to give him like 2 extra arms and some other stuff to actually like set him apart.
So this isn't canon to the movie. It's just something they made up.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's them going back to their SIC roots.
Okay.
Making this completely different and looking terrifying. This looks completely different from SIC Shin. And I like that they did that, so people, know what they're looking at whenever they look at it. But this is a Ghost 13 review, so while I'm talking, I am gonna keep scrolling the entire time because there are so many pictures and they're all good. And Ghost 13, I know you must hate us because you put so many gorgeous pictures in your reviews, and we have to go through all of them. And sometimes we don't finish talking about your reviews because we have to move on.
He mentions again that the diecast in this is very minimal.
Mm-hmm.
I think he said the little arms underneath the armpits, and I think maybe one other thing was diecast, but everything else is plastic.
Yeah, of course that's also par for the course for SICs, since they can't just call it Chogokin and not have any metal.
Yeah.
They put the minimal amount of metal, like in the SIC Ichigo and Nigo. The only diecast was in the shins.
Yeah.
Which is funny because this is a Shin review, and the diecast was not in the Shin.
Yeah. No pun intended. But anyways,
Pun completely intended. You shut your mouth.
All right. They should just change the name of the line, though. They should just call it Super Imaginative Kamen Rider or something.
Or like Super Imaginative Toys.
Yeah.
Sits.
Or just make the Chogokin in the smallest font ever. Because that's the amount of effort they put into putting diecast into these things.
Super Imaginative not Chogokin. Sinks.
Yeah.
Then they could probably bring the price down a little bit because then they wouldn't have to worry about shoving metal into it.
Yeah, all 1% of the toy.
Yeah, that 1%. That's a couple of yen right there. I mean, that's a huge savings.
It translates to a half a penny, I think, US. So really cool. I like the ending where he fights the Wolf Orphanok.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. I really like SICs.
Yeah, I kind of want to get that Wolf Orphanok.
Oh yeah.
I was a big fan of the design in Phys, and it looks really, really cool in SIC. Yeah. So I mean, really good review. He loves it. I think he said.
Mm-hmm. He needs to get Shin. That was one of the things he said, that he didn't have SIC Shin. And Ghost 13, I'm kind of mad at you because you bought this before you bought Shin Kamen Rider. What is wrong with you?
Yeah. Do you own Shin Kamen Rider?
Not the SIC yet, because I ended up missing out on the pre-orders.
So now you gotta go hunting through one of the secondary sites.
Yeah. I got a Yahoo Japan. Have fun with that, me.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can find one on Mandarake at some point.
They usually have some pretty cheap stuff, The box is a little dinged up, but
I don't care about the box.
You save a couple bucks, yeah. All right, so great review. Anything else you have to say about this? No?
Nope.
Should we talk about some more plastic?
Let's talk about some plastic.
A big hunk of plastic. DX Hyper Ressha Tei-Oh, done by some guy that goes by the name of SentaiSeiya.
You guy's a douche.
Yeah, what
big
a
old douche canoe. Paddling up the river of the douche.
So, this is basically the carrier mecha for Tokkyuger. It's a big train. It also becomes a terminal, and it becomes two different robots. It's also not a very good toy. I didn't really enjoy it too much. Didn't really have a whole lot going for it. I mean, the train looks pretty good. You got some hollow spots, though. I mean, I just wasn't a fan of that. Right there in that picture, you can just see straight through the toy. Again, it's Bandai just cutting costs, trying to save some money here and there. You got the smaller Hyper Ressha. The ToQger used that to become Hyper Tokyu, whatever their number is.
Well, I think they're up to 37 now.
Yeah. Oh, no, when they transform into their hyper form. Oh, yeah, I get what you did. Okay.
Yeah.
I see. So there is that. Let's check out the Tei-Oh. Basically, you just stand up the train and pop a head on it. You have the first robot form. This is why I'm really looking forward to Ninninger. Even if it doesn't look the greatest, it just seems like they're doing more with the mechas.
This just looks like garbage to me.
Yeah. It's got Dragon...
brick.
It's got Dragon Zord fingers though, so I mean that's like the one thing I actually thought was kind of cool. I really, really tried hard to like it. I mean, I tried to see the positive in the toy. I didn't want to be just super negative. It's a cool display piece in terminal form if you're gonna have your trains. I'm probably not going to keep the toy, so I don't really have to worry about displaying it. Usually, like last year, I wasn't a big fan of a couple of the Kyoryuja toys, but by the end, I was really won over by the last couple toys, so I kept the whole line. The Tokkyuger line really not doing it for me this year. I think in the next month or two, it's all going to be just sold.
I'm keeping the main mecha and like nothing else.
Yeah, and here we have Tokyo Rainbow, where you just throw the 13 other front parts of the trains on there. They become like body implants for the mecha. Just a lazy design. I know people have been complaining about the clusterfucks we've been getting for years and years, but
even that's better than this. Like a big old, like, I think it was G15 from Go-Onger.
Yeah.
I was like, I'd rather have that than this.
It's a big pile of plastic, but at least the thing I like about those is at least you have some fun putting them together. It's kind of like a puzzle, throwing all those mechas into one big pile, and this is just like a skinny robot with body implants. Man. Yeah, I just want to start swearing at it so bad right now.
And you see, like, normally I am, like, all for big old chunky brick robots, but there is just nothing to this. It's, for a show based on imagination, this is the least imaginative thing that I've seen come out of this line.
Yeah. And then, since it only uses the front parts of the trains, you have, you know, this big pile of extra parts that's just hanging out doing nothing. Yeah. So, like I said, this is getting sold ASAP. I have the Chogokin Tokyo on order, so I'm going to keep that. And I also have the Kurainar, I think they're calling it the Artisan line, I think now. So I'm going to keep those. I might keep one or two of the trains, but other than that, I just thought this line was not the greatest.
I was thinking about buying the elbow upgrade parts for Tokyo, but I realized that I didn't care enough.
Yeah.
Because I loved the robot as is, even without elbow joints.
Mm.
So
I think the Karainer is going to come with one of the elbow joints. Not two, just one, but even then, I'll have one for my trains. Yeah. I think it's so you can... I think it's so you can attach the drill Ressha to it, which I don't own. As you can see in the picture for the Tokyo Rainbow, because I ended up using the Kyoryuja Ressha and Go Busters Ressha for the combination.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just an ugly looking combination. It's got a whole bunch of colors. It just doesn't look cohesive to me. Once again, you just stand up the terminal form and throw some stuff on there, put a head on it, and call it a day.
This sucks.
It does.
Talk about the next thing.
Yeah, let's just jump on. Yeah. You know what? Let's just cut that whole segment out of the show.
Good review by SentaiSeiya, but yeah. God, that toy is not the greatest.
Garbage.
Now on to something that I really like.
Yeah. You have one of these, right?
I do have one of these. It's over there. It's right over there because some douche canoe decided to send me a box of Banana Arms Baron and Orange Arms Gaim.
Yeah.
With the first release bonuses.
I pre-ordered two of them, so I figured I'd give you one. Yeah. It's a graduation present. I think I said right, graduation and birthday present?
Yeah.
One for each? Yeah. I could have been even more of a douche and just sold them on the aftermarket for like heavy prices, you know, like because of the first bonuses. But no, I figured, you know, you've been pretty cool some of the time. So, review by Seninji, if you couldn't tell by the awesome photography.
Yeah, puts us all to shame. That's why he's on staff now.
Yeah.
Pretty soon he's gonna be running the show.
Yeah. You know what? Him and like Ghost 13 have been picking up the slack for us too.
I know. That's the thing that I hate about being an adult. Not that they're not adults, but like moving from college to full-time job, being a salary man is just like I do not know how to budget my time anymore.
I just laughing at the thought of you showing up to work like a Japanese salary man in his suit with the briefcase at the end of I say at the end of the day, just coming home, having one of those big Japanese beers. Oh, telling the wife about your day.
Dude, my Christmas present from the company was a big old bottle of fancy French wine, and I was just like, wow, you guys are super fancy.
Yeah, somebody's getting wasted tonight. So anyways, let's get back to the toy.
Oh yeah, this is an awesome toy. Good review by Sentai.
So he reviewed a whole bunch of the arms change figures, and then he started doing the figure arts. Mm-hmm. And he just said it's a world of difference. I mean, the paint applications, everything just looks awesome on these.
Yeah, and since I own both of the versions of this guy, the figure arts and the arms change, while I do love both of them, the figure arts release is so good. Like, it is shiny. It is super articulated. Everything is painted. It's crisp. It's gorgeous. Like, of course, it's a figure art, so so much you can have so much expression in your poses, as you can see on the screen right here. That you can't accomplish with the arms change figure.
Yeah, Sentai does a really good job at just capturing all these different poses. I mean, it looks like it's straight from the show. Oh
yeah, like one thing that I wish you could switch around the arms like you could on the arms change figures, but I think that would be way too much to engineer and still have a solid S.H.Figuarts.
Especially in such a small scale, yeah. Mm-hmm. If it was a bigger scale, I could see them doing it.
Yeah, like if this was 1/6 scale, they could probably get away with it.
Yeah. It'd be cool if Hot Toys did that. Arms change, 1/6 scale.
I don't know why I didn't think about this, but Bandai has their 12 p.m. line.
That went nowhere.
Yeah, but they technically have that line, so they could do Kamen Riders if they wanted.
But see, that's the thing, though. I think Medicom owns the rights to Kamen Rider in that scale. Yeah. That's why Bandai did some of the other stuff for the 12 p.m. line.
And I think that's why it died, because they just couldn't get enough good stuff.
Yeah.
They had Tiger and Bunny, and they had C-3PO.
But see, Tiger and Bunny came in like way late in the game. Like the whole Tiger and Bunny train had already left the station, like people weren't into it as much. Mm-hmm. You saw a lot of the figure arts just, warming the shelves at that point. And it was just a flavor of the month kind of show, as a lot of the anime is. I mean, I think it would have made more sense for them to start off with like Akiba Ranger or something that had a solid fan base.
Yeah, because I would buy 12 p.m. all of the Akiba Rangers.
Yeah, it would have made more sense than like the stuff they did for season 2, whereas like at least for the female characters, it was the same toy with the different hairstyle. Like, really? I'm not spending $40 on a toy I pretty much already own.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything because I have all of them.
But you bought them on like super clearance for like $2.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's a different story. Yeah,
but we're talking. I do have both seasons, like representations of all of them.
Yeah.
Hey, Blue is a completely different character in season 2.
Yeah, it's a different person, but I mean the toy's pretty much the same.
Yes, but it's a different person. Yeah. Anyway, back to the review that we've been skipping.
Yeah.
I'm all the way at the end, and he's obviously going to be doing Ryugen next.
Yep, a new challenger is approaching. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I was going to say he did an awesome job, just like he did with Kamen Rider Gaim Orange Arms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, awesome reviews by Sentai. He's got an awesome photo setup. I think I'm going to have to try experimenting with mine and get something going like he does. He's got like a lot of space where he shoots. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to kick somebody out of my house and just build a photo studio.
Yeah.
All right, so there's that. I think we have no more reviews. That's it.
Yep, we're done
we breezed through them.
The toy talk thing
of toys.
The talking of the toys.
And getting off topic a lot.
Yeah.
All right, so showtime. Shall we do it?
Oh yeah, life is showtime.
Yeah. So, Tokkyuger, pretty much the second half of the show so far.
Yeah, episodes 19 through 40
Yeah.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, pretty much. A good big chunk of episodes.
We are not going to bore all of you and going episode by episode giving synopses and what we felt about each individual episode because that would be insane. So we're just going to kind of give overall how we felt about these past episodes and take it away.
I mean, basically, Akira showed up and he made the show really good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, there were some episodes where it got kind of slow, but just his interaction and his like just willingness to find a place to die just made it so much funnier. I think the writers got really creative at how they snuck in the whole like line of like, this is the place where I die.
Mm-hmm.
The episodes got really silly, as we saw with the one monster that would like make people laugh and defeat them that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's that. The whole plot with the villains got pretty good.
Greta got, well, originally ate Zed and then got eaten and is now ghosty, and I still hate Greta.
Yeah. And she's still got the love thing going with Schwartz, and Schwartz kind of has reciprocated that love. He's trying to save her, and then basically he enlists Akira to help him out now.
Mm-hmm.
In exchange for the drill Ressha, he has agreed, and he's a man of his word, so now he's playing for the other team.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not gay, he's a villain, kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
And my camera just went up. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. I was about to down a little more.
Down
a little more.
All right, there we go.
Good enough.
So, I don't know. I think the episodes have been pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
There's been some slowness. But overall, I think between Akira and the villains, they've kept it pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I still really love Tokati. I don't know what it is, but his character just makes me really happy.
Yeah. And then Green and Pink just can die.
Green and Pink can just... Even though I kind of like Pink, it's really just Green that I don't like.
Yeah, I still don't care for... I mean, she doesn't do anything.
Yeah, your camera's up again.
I know. There we go. So, they've been just a lot of funny episodes, a lot of good episodes. What's been your favorite so far out of the bunch? Rather than just talk about everything in general, what's been your favorite?
My favorite episode was probably, I think this was episode 30 or 31. It was the date episode.
Oh,
where Mio is getting stalked by the creepy guy, and then the creepy guy falls in love with Akira.
Yeah. Because he gives him his first kiss. Yeah.
He gets his first kiss from Akira. I died whenever I saw that.
You know what's ironic though? I just said Akira doesn't play for the other team.
Yeah, I know.
And he does.
We're talking about him kissing a dude.
That was totally not intended. I completely forgot about that episode.
It's just I loved that episode. It was probably my favorite episode that they've ever had. It was so funny.
Yeah, there's just been a lot of lighthearted villains and a lot of just really fun stuff happening.
Mm-hmm.
There was the episode with that villain where he put like the egg on top of their heads and they had those crazy wigs. That was pretty funny too. Yeah. The episode where they had to fight through that building to get to that monster on top because he injected them all with poison. That was pretty silly and crazy, but I don't know. I think the villain design has been pretty good so far. Pretty imaginative. Yeah.
Like the designers for these shows, specifically this series, has been just like nailing it, except for Greta.
Yeah. They should have just made her like an adult, and everything would have been fine.
I know. Even if they would have kept her voice the same, if they would have just made her an adult and not a giant baby, it would have just been like 4 stars, perfect,
Yeah.
2 thumbs up.
Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah.
Another thing that's happened is they finally remember the name of where they lived, and they've been chasing that. They've been saving all these towns that have been swallowed up by the darkness. And then in the very last episode, in episode 40, they finally find out where that place is, and it's right underneath the villain's terminal.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of makes sense, though. I mean, you figure they weren't going to go back home till the very end of the show.
So it would make sense for, oh, God, that picture. Oh, God. Oh. I can't believe you're taking screenshots of Greta. It just makes me lose my train of thought completely.
For the next episode, that's all it's going to be. The next one we do, it's going to be all Greta.
Yeah, it's just, ugh.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that the Rangers are all kids. They realized that
too.
that's the reason why they're able to be so imaginative. They were basically plucked out of the darkness and artificially grown to adult size so that their bodies could handle the stress of fighting, but so their minds retained their childlike wonder. And that's kind of like, I mean, it's really interesting, and I like that angle, but it's also kind of like, their childhoods are basically ruined at this point.
Yeah, they've had to murder a lot of monsters.
Yeah.
But you know what, though? That's good writing. It actually makes the show make a little bit more sense because they've retained a lot of their childhood traits.
And
actually, all of them really, because they're still children. Yeah. And
it made sense why they were all wearing the same clothes, even in the flashbacks. Mm-hmm. If you pay attention to that sort of thing, because at the beginning, whenever they would have the flashbacks, they were all wearing the exact clothes that they did whenever they were Rangers. I was just like, come on. They would have to change clothes at some point, and then you realize all those flashbacks are from essentially the night they died.
Yeah, or they're not technically dead. Their kid forms, went away. It also makes you look at the show a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. Like especially when he's got this love going for Mio. He's not this grown adult anymore. He's this little kid facing his first love, his first crush.
And that's exactly the way it's written too. He doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, and awesome. it takes him from being this awkward adult that never learned love to a little kid that hasn't learned love, and it makes a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm. And it also makes a lot more sense why Mio and God, I cannot remember her name.
Pink Kagura.
Kagura. It makes sense why they also don't know anything about love and all that stuff, and it also makes sense why Mio is all like, ew, boys, gross.
And why Red retained all that imagination.
Mm-hmm.
He's just crazy, crazy imaginative. So, an awesome set of episodes. I mean, it's been really enjoyable. I'm going to have to call it now. I've enjoyed this more than Kyoryuja.
Really?
Yeah. Because I think Kyoryuja got really good at the end. This has been kicking it up since, like, episode, 18, 19, when Akira showed up or whenever that was.
I was getting ready to just like stop with the show because it was really dying, but then Akira showed up and it just really kicked the show into high gear because I love Akira.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah. It just goes to show, usually the Sixth Ranger can make or break a show.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of...
And I didn't care too much for the Sixth Ranger and Kyoryuger. I thought it was cool.
I think they kind of try to do with him what they're doing with Akira, to make him kind of like the out of place ranger, where they're trying to teach him, how to be a normal person.
But it makes so much more sense why Akira is super silly.
Yeah, yeah. So
this will be the place that I die, and they're like, no, Akira, no.
See, and they could have done it with silver or gold in Kyoryuja, because at the beginning he wanted to die too. He wanted to kind of like repent for not being able to save those kids or whatever happened. They could have done it, but they didn't. Yeah. So that's what I think this show is a lot better. He just brings the silliness to a whole new level. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Go-Onger. I was kind of getting tired of that show, and then the 6th and 7th Ranger shows up, and at first they're all serious.
Yeah.
And then they just go crazy with the silliness. They just give in to the rest of the Go-Ongers, nuts.
And you realize the guy was Kick Hopper, and you're like, this doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. So, I think that's all I have to say about the last 20 episodes or so of Tokkyuger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we talk about that new Kamen Rider that's not so new?
Yeah, I hear there was a new Kamen Rider about 10 weeks ago. Okay, guys, so... couple of months ago, they came out with a new Kamen Rider. As I'm pretty sure all of you are completely familiar with him now, because we're not exactly the forefront of Tokusatsu news at this point.
PowerToku on the cutting edge of Toku news from like 2 months ago. Oh man.
But yeah, Kamen Rider Drive. He is a detective, and he transforms with Belt-san, Mr. Belt, however you wanna say it. and overall, I am loving the crap out of this show. I'm loving all of the transformations. I love that there are several different kinds of transformations that Drive goes through. Like, sometimes he'll be in the car and he'll be like, all right, henshin, and then, he like transforms in the car and you see him, like, the car just sort of disappears and you see him transform. But then he also has those moments where he does a quick change wherever he's in front of a monster and the camera pans around him and all the parts are like just popping onto him and stuff. And that, I always love it when, shows do transformations like that. So that just immediately hit me and I love it.
So this has like that 2 episode per storyline kind of structure to it for the most part.
Basically what's been happening since Double.
Yeah.
Excluding Gaim.
And they're basically fighting the Roimudes, these monsters. There's 108 of them. Mm-hmm. I believe they're based off the 108 Stars of Destiny, if I'm not mistaken. Or there's some sort of connection there, I think, because of the number. Yeah. It's like a Chinese novel. The only reason I know is because in Saint Seiya, the Hades specters are also the 108 stars of something or other. I don't know, but anyways, it's like a special number because it's in that novel, and then it was also translated into Suikoden, the video game. So the Japanese are pretty knowledgeable about that story, I believe. So there's that. We've already seen basically like the main bad guys. We got Heart, Brain, and what's the other guy?
You mean Machine Chaser?
Machine Chaser, and there was one other guy, right?
I think that those were the 2 Roidmude like head honchos, and then you've got the Machine Chaser, who I believe they call the Reaper.
Yeah, he basically goes out and kills any of the Roimudes that are kind of getting out of hand.
Because part of the thing is that the Roidmude's bodies are basically disposable as long as the core is intact. So what Machine Chaser would do is, when someone has outlived their usefulness, he would destroy their bodies, and then the core would go back to Heart and Brain, and then they would give them a new body and essentially just reboot the monsters, even though they're still kind of dead. It's kind of like the way the Doctor regenerates.
Yep.
But
and as we found out in the recent episodes, basically Mr. Belt was a scientist, mm-hmm. and his technology basically is what gave birth to the cores in the mm-hmm. Roimudes, and also the cores inside the shift cars, and mm-hmm. The Belt technology, which is usually a theme in Kamen Rider. Both the villains mm-hmm. and the main characters, the protagonists, share a source of power.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, I don't know. I haven't really dug this show so far.
Really?
I don't know. I think doing the whole detective thing has been a disservice to it. I've kind of had to compare it to Kamen Rider Double.
Oh, okay. I can... You see, the thing is, while he is a detective, he's more like a police officer, whereas Double was a private investigator. So
yeah.
I still don't compare it to Double, because that you can barely compare anything to Double.
Yeah. Besides that, I mean, we just got off a Gaim. I've been trying to give the show a chance, but so far I'm not sold on it. For me, it feels a little too gimmicky with all the different cars and stuff. There's usually like at least a car per episode.
Welcome to Kamen Rider.
But it feels like, to me, it feels like the gimmick takes precedence over the story. Like, that's the way I'm perceiving the show. It's more about, it's always about selling toys. We're not kidding anybody here.
Right.
I don't know. That's just
toy sales.
Toy sales. See, I don't mind toy sales with a good story, but so far for me the story's been a bit weak. It seems like Drive hasn't had to do a whole lot to gain the new powers. They just kind of show up. Yeah. So. Well,
sometimes he has to adjust his personality.
Yeah, try to be cool.
In order to be able to use them.
Yeah. So far it's been all right. Machine Chaser has been kind of a nuisance in the show. He kind of shows up to just prolong the fights.
But I really like Machine Chaser because he's awesome.
See, that's the thing, though. I actually don't like any of the designs for the Kamen Riders or Machine Chaser, minus Drive in his normal form.
I don't care too much for Technic, but I really like Type Wild.
Wild. I'm just the first one looks good. After that, they kind of lost me on the designs. Um, I'm hoping the story kicks up and it gets a little bit more original. I mean, really, right now they're playing it pretty by the numbers. It's
Every episode he gets a little buddy to help him out, save the day, and a little new shift car comes out.
Yeah, and you know, in the whole meta of it, it's basically they're using a lot of the Kamen Rider tropes. They haven't really done anything to differentiate themselves from anything that's come before it.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I know I've watched, you know, the more recent Kamen Riders in the past couple years, so maybe that's why I'm not enjoying it. Like I've seen all there is to see pretty much from the Neo Heisei, as they call it or whatever, except for a couple.
Bad people call it.
Yeah, well, what bad people call it. So I've seen
Emperor
a lot of
Neo Heisei.
I've seen pretty much most of what Kamen Rider has had to offer, minus a couple of shows from the past, like, you know, 14 years in the matter of like 3 years. So for me, maybe it's been, you know, too Kamen Rider in such a short time that I'm looking for something a little bit more new and fresh, which is why I really gravitated towards Gaim. They kind of did their own thing. They still sold toys, but their story was pretty good. Not perfect. I know in the last show when we were talking about Gaim, some people chimed in and said that they hated Gaim, and I can see their point. I mean, looking back at it, there was definitely some plot holes and parts in the story that were weak.
Mm-hmm.
So let us know what you think about Drive. The audience, we want to know what you guys think. We're just here talking to each other, but it's good to see what people have to think. I mean, yeah. Even though they may not be right.
Do you agree with me and think that the show was awesome, or do you agree with like Mr. Dummy, that guy who is wrong?
Mr. Winner, because he's right. we should have a poll, see who likes Drive, who doesn't like Drive. So I mean, Kamen Riders, you know, they have so many shows. Not everybody's gonna like every show, so we'll see. You know, 3-4 months from now when we do our next episode, how I feel about it.
You know, it's probably going to take us a decade to get through our journey through the decade. So
yeah, by then I'm gonna be in my 40s almost.
I shouldn't mention the recommendation yet because we still do have one more thing to talk about before we get to it.
Speaking of disappointments,
you and I are about to have an interesting conversation.
Yeah? Did you? All right. Well, the Super Megaforce finale.
And pretty much just the second half of Super Megaforce because we didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
After the last like mid-season finale thing.
Yeah.
This, of course, you know, not a whole lot really happened in this last half of the season. They're just fighting the Armada and all that stuff. And the next thing you know, they think they destroyed the Armada, but a new wave comes in, and just like every ship that the Armada has in the universe comes to try to destroy them. So they need help from all of the previous Rangers, because they were able to secure 9 of them.
Yeah.
Of the original Rangers
that they could afford to pay.
Yeah. That's an issue for another day, but you know, this is the triumphant return of Tommy and some other people that no one cares about, which is sad. Because it kind of cheapened it for me because I wanted I'm not going to compare it to Gokaiger. I'm not going to do that because there's no point in doing that. It's stupid to compare the two, in my opinion. But,
see, Gokaiger did a much better job at, you know, giving nods to the shows that came before it. I agree with you there, but it definitely feels like they wasted so much potential. There was so much footage. There was so much they could have done with what they had, and they just... They definitely made it like Megaforce Part 2. I mean, they had those couple episodes where it was just like scenes from Goseiger that it slowed the plot down. It just didn't really feel like it belonged. I don't know. It just... I just asked myself why. Why make it second part of Megaforce, why not just forget all that and use what you have? I mean, like I said, there's so much footage, so much good stuff there, and then they turned out this, which is pretty disappointing.
Yeah, kind of disappointing, but in a way, it still made me really happy to see previous Rangers actually show up without the helmets and stuff like that. Not to mention, if you watch the extended version, you got some awesome astronomer moments. And by awesome astronomer moments, I mean the one where Corone says, "I love being a Power Ranger," and then throughout the episode, whenever the Rangers had done something, their helmet would like appear above their face to show, "Oh, look, this is an old Power Ranger guy." But instead of that, it was like her as astronomer. It like showed up, and that made me happy.
That's pretty cool. I didn't actually watch the extended version, but I did see a screen grab of that. I don't know. I actually watched this last episode with my nephew, and he wasn't even that excited. I mean, he likes Tommy, but he was just like, he's there.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, the people that are really, the majority of people that are watching this are little kids who weren't around 20 years ago to remember all of these other characters. So, I mean, Power Rangers does have a legacy. A lot of people in America, almost everyone knows Power Rangers, knows pretty much what it's about. People in suits fight monsters, get in a robot, and then there's explosions. But it's like Super Sentai has an even bigger legacy. So them having, bringing back the actor for Aka Ranger, like at the end of it, it almost has a bit more gravitas to it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Whereas Power Rangers, it doesn't have quite that legacy. It's been going for basically half as long.
Oh yeah.
So.
And I get the fact that, like you said, the history isn't as rich with Power Rangers, but for me it just felt like there could have been more. It could have been treated a little bit better. The writing could have been better.
My biggest issue, not just the few former Rangers that showed up, was throughout the series they were using in my opinion, the wrong footage. There's so much footage they could have used during fight scenes to not have Power Ranger teams that were never Power Rangers.
Yeah, with a crappy explanation of, oh, this is new powers.
And it's like, this is just new powers, and that's kind of infuriating to me, because I'm trying to word this without sounding like an entitled douche, but like the little kids who are going to be watching this show, I kind of understand why they just didn't bother with it, because a little kid who is 6, 7 years old, who's enjoying watching Power Rangers like my nephew, they're going to see Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. They're going to look to them. They're going to be exactly the same as them pulling out old Bioman suits. They're still not going to know who either of them are. So.
But see, my nephew's been watching a crap ton of Power Rangers. So when a team that he knows came up, he'd be like, "Oh my God, that's this team and that's that team." So for them, I understand how it's going to bring them joy to see the teams that they like. But like you said, why put Bioman in there? Why put all this footage that doesn't need to be in there? Kibo Ranger, or not Kibo Ranger, freaking Die Ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Disappointing. Hopefully, Dino Charge is a lot better.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have as many issues in adaptation. It was just because Gokaiger had so much, like, footage that they had to comb through, because it was, 20 extra teams that were never Power Rangers that they turned into at any point. Now, I know it's not exactly 20, but, for the most part, there was a lot more teams that they turned into. So there was a lot of footage that they would have needed to carefully comb through, so I think when it comes down to it, I'm okay with what we got. I'm glad we actually did get some returning characters. I wish they did more, but, in the end, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. For me, it's pretty forgettable. Yeah. Go back and watch Gokaiger instead.
That's what I tell everyone all the people who are angry with Super Megaforce. I'm just like, if you want it to be Gokaiger, just go watch Gokaiger. Yeah. It's still there.
Yeah. Yep. They didn't rape Gokaiger. They just gave the Americans a different version
that
wasn't good. All right, so I think that's all I have to say.
Yeah, and so with that, I believe it is time to go with our recommendation for the, normally I would say week, but right now I'm going to say
3-month period.
3-month period.
The trimester.
Yeah.
We're gonna time these shows like they time babies when they're coming out.
Oh yeah.
We're in our first trimester. All right. The recommendation again: Journey Through the Decade. Even though this was supposed to be a lot more, together.
It's supposed to be quicker.
Yeah.
We should have been done with the decade by now, but
but by now you probably had enough time to watch Kuga and Agito and have some spare time.
Yeah.
So let's jump into Kamen Rider Agito. My alpha. And I think Agito means beginning, doesn't it? Or new beginning? Something like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, because they use it like in video games and stuff too.
Really?
Yeah. I think like Kingdom Hearts had an Agito, and there's some other games that have used it. But anyways, I digress. Kamen Rider Agito, the very first Kamen Rider I watched.
That was your problem.
See, that's the thing though. I was really into Super Sentai, and my Japanese buddy said, "You got to watch Kamen Rider," and he kept bugging me about it. I remember one time he brought his Japanese PS2 over, and we were playing some Kamen Rider games, and this is before I had watched any Kamen Rider. So I was just like, okay, they all look the same to me.
Spoiler.
Yeah. Eh, not really.
Looking at that screen.
That's from like the movie that doesn't really matter, or the special or something.
Yeah, I know, it's from Project G4, but still, continue talking.
So, anyways, eventually he got me to watch Kamen Rider, and I asked him, what's the best one? And he, said Agito. And hence, that's why I started off with Agito. I don't know, the story was just awesome. It picks up after Kuga, but the stories are not really that related. There's some elements that, are brought over from Kuga, like the fact that the police, their Kamen Rider is built based off of Kuga, whatever technology or whatever they grabbed, or I don't know how that works.
They didn't specifically say it was Kuga. It was based on unknown number 4.
Which was Kuga.
Yeah, which was Kuga's designation in Kuga.
Yeah. So, I mean, the story was just great. It was a little bit soap opera at times, especially with the amnesia thing or whatever. But so basically, the main character, his name was Shuichiro, right? Or
yeah,
Shoichi. Shoichi, yeah. He has amnesia, doesn't know what's going on, and he's a guy that just fights monsters. As the story progresses, you find out how his backstory is related to this one ship and an incident that happened on it. You also start to find out how everybody's story is a little bit connected and stuff. It was just well written. There was a lot of cliffhangers, and it kept you wanting to watch episode after episode. Mm-hmm. We also got some cool Kamen Rider designs. We had Agito, we had Gills, crazy Gills, and G3, the military, or not military, the police one. And some other ones too.
I'm trying to bring a picture of Gills. Look, he's in the top corner. Slightly, you can kind of see him.
Yeah. His finisher was pretty cool too. His Kamen Rider kick, where he would stick him in like the spine.
Oh, Gills is my favorite Kamen Rider. Yeah. Kamen Rider Agito is my favorite Kamen Rider series. It is seriously like the best. Like some people argue and say that it's Blade. Some people say that it's Double, but they're all wrong. The answer is Agito. Agito is the best.
And I think for people that haven't watched Kamen Rider, it's a good introduction to how the show and the series works. Because at first I watched the first fight between Agito and the bad guy, and Agito just kicks him and he explodes, and I'm like, really? That's all this is about? It's some dude kicking another dude?
Yeah.
And then like 2 or 3 episodes into it, I'm like, hell yeah, he's kicking that dude. I mean, you just get such a love for the Kamen Rider kick after watching this, because you see Agito do it, you see Gills with his flavor of it.
another Agito does his, I don't know, cool guy, whatever he does.
Yeah. Agito does the thing where he's on like Machine Tornado and then he like does that crazy jump. So,
yeah.
To me, this is like I mean, it's the best Kamen Rider show, as I've said, and also this is like the last Kamen Rider before they started to get really, really commercial. Because it's always been about selling toys, but in the next year they try to sell a lot more toys because we have more riders, we have the cards, we have everything else, a lot more gimmicks, and that's where when it starts to kick into place is after Agito.
This is really just old school dude transforms into a superhero and then kicks everyone.
At its best.
Yeah, it is so good. And like, I'm gonna bring this back to Gills. Part of Gills' thing, not to get into too much spoiler territory, but the concept of the Agito in this world is that basically any person, once they, I guess, come to a certain point in their life or in their spirit, they can basically evolve to become an Agito. And Agito is basically, the perfect Agito. But Gills is basically an imperfect transformation into an Agito. So he is just very bestial. And it's like, whenever he transforms, he basically reverts and de-evolves and he just becomes like a monster. And it is so awesome because most of his transformation, whereas a lot of riders, they put on the belt and then they stand there and then the suit just comes on them and then they go. But for Gills, like, he would be standing there and then you would see Gills just like coming up behind him and they would basically just switch their roles out and then the actor would just fade away. And so it's like him just being taken over by this, this monster that was inside of him. And it was just such a cool concept. I loved that they did it like that. And it was so cool.
It like harkens back to like the old werewolf movies where you'd have like a perfectly like normal human being, and once night came, like they would just give into their like instincts and just become this crazy killing machine.
And then his helmet had like teeth and it would open up and he would bite the monsters. I love Gills so much.
And that's the thing though, they had such a strong cast of Kamen Riders. Also, they had the police Kamen Rider, the G3.
Yeah.
And he wasn't the strongest, but there was so much drama going on with the development of the suit and who gets to wear it and all that stuff. Like, it was just so good. It was very engaging.
And it was it was also refreshing because the way G3 worked, he didn't just run out in the middle of a field, put on a belt, and then transform. He would have to like get inside of a truck, and he would have to have 2 or 3 people like slapping the armor onto him.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
And then he'd jump out of the truck in his bike. So
yeah,
really good. I mean, even some of the minor characters you don't think have anything to do with the story end up playing a bigger part later on. So yeah, it was a great show. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I have to say about this.
Watch it.
Yeah, watch it. Yeah. It's also the show that pretty much spoiled me on the rest of Kamen Rider.
Yeah, if you watch this one first, it's like, I don't know, nothing is going to be as good. It's going to just ruin your palate.
And at the same time, too, I mean, there might be some people out there that want to dip their toes in Kamen Rider. Maybe they don't want to watch every single one that's out there.
They don't want to finish up with the best. They want to start and see the best the show has to offer, so that they know it might be something that they want to.
That's true. If you watch Agito and you don't love Kamen Rider and the whole concept behind it, then you're probably not going to get into Kamen Rider.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, as Kamen Rider got improved, you can still have a good show, even with all the commercial, hubbub and all that, trying to sell extra toys, that has enveloped Kamen Rider in the past couple years. Or actually almost the past decade now.
Yeah.
More than that, yeah. So, great show, highly recommended by both of us. Either watch it first or watch something else and save this for last. But you've been warned. I mean, it will ruin you.
It is so good.
So, I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I actually believe that will do it for the show.
Yeah. One in the can.
Yeah, finally, we're back. And so I guess we'll see you guys in 3 more months.
Yep. This has been Luis, otherwise known as SentaiSeiya. You can follow me on Twitter at SentaiSeiya. Josh?
Josh Reed, Jmann on the site, JmanDX on Twitter with 2 N's. So basically, thank you guys for watching. We hope to have one fairly soon. You know, hopefully it won't take 3 months like it did the last time, but, you know, with life happening, we can't guarantee it.
And thanks for everybody who's been patient, you know, waiting for the new episode. We would love to do this more often, but we've been trying so hard.
I know. Our schedules just don't align at all right now. Being in different time zones kind of hurts. Just a little.
A little bit. It's only an hour, though, but still, yeah. It's been more or less like major life events, things happening in your life, my life, where one of us is free one weekend or one day, and it just doesn't click.
Yeah.
So, thanks for watching. As always, don't forget to check out CDX, CollectionDX.com for all the news and reviews and stuff. Like we've said, we're not as active as we used to be, but Sininji and Ghost 13, they've been picking up the mantle with the Toku stuff. So hit them up. And we'll have some stuff up too, sometime.
Yeah, I'll have some stuff up this week. Shh, don't tell anyone.
All right, it's a secret. Yeah.
But also, another kind of announcement, if you guys haven't heard, the second Super Robots Giant Monsters is going to be April 25th, and yours truly will be attending.
Hey, how about that?
I will, in fact, be there. So if you guys want to see me in person, go to Massachusetts that week.
You driving down there?
No, I'm going to fly.
Or up there,
that would be like 16 hours of driving, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to fly up there.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll see if I can make it, but with my job situation, probably not going to happen.
I might be in Massachusetts that week because of my job, so it's also perfectly aligned.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is it at the same venue?
I don't believe they solidified the venue. It may or may not be the same venue as last year.
It was like Mill number 6 or something like that.
Yeah. But I don't think it's there anymore because I mean it's there, but it's not going to be at that venue. There's like half as many vendor tables because they've had more people moving into the space. So I guess stay tuned to CollectionDX for more information on that.
Yeah. Watch the next CDX episode. All right. So I think that wraps it up, right?
Yep.
Shall we just ramble on for the rest of the night?
Yeah, I think we're good. I think we can stop the show.
Okay, cool.
Thank you guys for watching.
Yep, later.